All right, so insurance, I'm making a point here to tell you that it's an ongoing cost. Insurance is something that is going to just be part of your bill for the rest of your owning a home, or you should be doing that as well when you rent. A lot of people don't know that. But the first insurance that we're going to talk about is tenant insurance. It's for people that rent. Okay? Did you know that if your apartment block burns down, your stuff is not going to be insured? Like, your stuff is all gone. You need your own insurance for that. Okay? The landlord has the building insured, so they're going to be able to rebuild and it's all covered, but your contents it's on you. So you need to get tenant insurance for that. It covers your contents and your personal belongings. You should consider tenant insurance if you're renting, as it covers your belongings. So whether you rent a house or you rent an apartment, you should get tenant insurance. It also covers you for potential liability. So if you, for example, leave the bathtub running and for whatever reason it overflows and your neighbor underneath it gets water into their bathroom and damages things, you are liable for that. So you might have to pay big bucks to get that all replaced. If you have insurance, they will cover it, okay? Tenant insurance is for people renting, one more time. And here's where you need a couple of highlighters, okay? So this is for renting only. No matter where you are in Manitoba, this table applies to you. It's in your yellow handouts as well, okay? So right off the get-go, there's a $500 deductible, okay? So what is a $500 deductible? What is a deductible? Anybody remember what that is? It's the amount you pay when you make a claim. When it is car insurance, you only pay the deductible if it's your fault, if you're at fault. With home or tenant insurance, you pay no matter what. If you make a claim, you have to pay. In this case, it would be you pay $500 up front, and they pay anything above that, okay? That's what a deductible is. So anything here is by default a $500 deductible. All areas of Manitoba. So the first step that you're going to have to take is you're going to have to pick a number from this region right here. Must choose one number from here. You don't have a choice. You have to pick from there. And this one right here is if you go over the insurance cost. So this is overage, I call that. Amount above the max. All right, today. What is the max, guys? Right here for tenant insurance. This is what I call the max. Like, this table gives you the amounts you would have to pay up to $75,000. If you have belongings that surpass $75,000, you're going to have to pay extra. And in this case, you pay $450 if you want the standard. You pay $550 if you want the comprehensive form. Okay. One last thing, I'm going to use a different color for this one, is if you want to switch this to a $200 deductible, you must increase your premium, any of these numbers in here, by 10%. How are you going to do that? Multiply by 1.10. Okay, so anything in here, if you're like, hey, I don't like a $500 deductible, I want a $200 deductible, just multiply any of these numbers by 1.10 and voila, you got your new premium. Okay? So let's just do a quick, before I give you the, yeah.
Could we explain what must choose over actually from having means?
From here, so must choose one number from here. Sorry about that. It says here. So the orange is the one you must pick from, one number from in here. So let's do an experiment here. Just a brain exercise. Listen to this one. If you have $40,000 worth of stuff, okay, and you want a standard insurance, standard form, how much would you have to pay? You go to 40,000, you go to standard, so you'd pay $212 a year. That's it. It's actually very cheap. Tenant insurance is not expensive. Let's say you have $70,000 worth of stuff and you want comprehensive insurance. Comprehensive costs a little bit more than standard, so you would pay $427 a year. I will talk about the differences a little bit later, but know this. Standard is like your basic, comprehensive is like deluxe. It's like it covers pretty much everything. Okay? So keep that in mind. Here's the ugly formula that you need to have on your study sheet. Okay? And the reason I have a formula is because students kept asking me for it. Like, I don't know, Mr. Dirks, I don't know what to do with insurance. So add this to your study sheet. Okay? I will use the same colors I used for that table. So where I must pick from is that orange part. Okay, you must pick one number and start off with it. The green part, that bottom part, that belongs to this area right here. Overage is only if you are going over, okay? This part may not even be part of your equation if you do this right. Do you notice these big square brackets here? What that means, I'm trying to tell you, is do this first, whatever's in here first, before you multiply it by 1.10. That's only if you want a $200 deductible. So this is where I use pink for the $200 deductible. So this part gets that same color. And if you didn't color code it, that's fine. You should be fine no matter what. And one last thing, please do not tax insurance. It stopped being taxed during COVID. Right about COVID time, they stopped taxing it. So if my answer keys, I think I fixed them all, but if they ever tax it, ignore taxing, okay? Don't add taxes to insurance. So there we go. Study sheet, okay? This formula works for both insurance for tenants and for homeowners. It will work exactly the same way. And highlight this part as well. If you have a scenario where you go over the max, please do this part first before you add to that rate that you picked from the table, or else you will get it wrong. Okay. So let's try it, and then I will ask you to try it. Joan rents an apartment and wishes to buy $65,000 worth of standard form coverage with a $500 deductible. Calculate her annual insurance premium. Let's use our formula. Insurance is square bracket. We must pick from that. You have your yellow table, so have those out. I'm going to go back to 41 for this one. So 65,000 standard, keep that in mind. Go to the table. So you want $65,000 worth of insurance. So I go to 65,000 right here. Question, am I maxing out at this point? Not at all. I don't have to worry about the overage. What do we want, standard or comprehensive? We want standard. So pick that number, 315. I'm going to say this is 315. I must pick that. We're not going over. So I'm going to actually write this out though. Dollars per $1,000 of extra that you want times 1.10. And this is a little irrelevant. I don't want you to do this moving forward, but I'm just going to say we're not going over, so you can cross this out. Are we wanting a $200 deductible in this case? We are not. We are happy with a $500 deductible. So we also won't do this part. So that ugly formula just reduces to $315. That's it. This is per year. So I will say this, note we don't go over max. What is the max for tenant insurance? It's actually $75K. And we don't want a $200 deductible. That's why we're omitting these two components of that formula. Got it? Okay. One more. This one does go over. Make sure you have this down. I omitted this part because you would only go times 1.10 if you wanted a $200 deductible. You don't worry about it because you're staying with the 500, okay? And I didn't go over the max. My max is 75,000. I never went over, so I also don't need to worry about this part right here. The overage part. That whole thing is not applicable. You might have to try it a few times until it sinks in, all right? So don't be too worried, but you need to practice. That's it. Let's try one more. Dimitri is currently renting an apartment. It would like to purchase insurance to cover his contents. He estimates that he has about $90,000 worth of belongings. I will make a note right away. Over max, right? What is the max? The max is $75,000. It's always going to be the case for tenant insurance. We are going over. There's just no denying it. So I'm going to highlight that. $90,000 worth of stuff. There's a $200 deductible. So let's see how this goes. Insurance. We must pick a value. So let's go to the table. What do we need to figure out the value? We need to know how much we're insuring for and whether it's standard or comprehensive. We are actually wanting comprehensive insurance. Got it? So let's go get that. So watch this. You got to max out. You're going to 75,000. You're going to grab this value right here, 454, because you're maxing out. So you're going to go 454 plus, how much are we going over by? 15,000, right? So we're going to go 90,000 minus the 75,000. You're $15,000 over. Let's use the same color. I used green for overage. So I'm going to take the 15,000 and multiply it by the amount I have to pay for every $1,000 of extra coverage I need to buy. And what is that amount? There's only two numbers to pick from. I'm going to go back. It's either $450 for extra $1,000 or $550. Since I'm under comprehensive, it's $550 that I must select. So I go over to my formula and I pick the $550. I put $550 in here. I close the brackets. And do I need to multiply this by 1.10? Yes, because it's a $200 deductible. So I got to go like this. So this is as ugly as it gets. Okay, this is where you use everything on that formula. Please stop typing everything in one shot. It's going to hurt you, okay? Do it one step at a time. This stays 454. Let's figure out what this is. So grab your calculator. Go 550 divided by 1,000 times 15,000. So you're going to pay an extra $82.50 for that extra coverage you want. So $82.50. So this part right here boils down to $82.50. Guess what? So you got to go, now you got to add these two together. Okay? Add them together. So I'm going to go plus 454. That's 536.50. And now you can get rid of those square brackets. You don't like them anyways. And before we go grand finale here, that right there would have been what? A $500 deductible policy right there. That's the premium. But because you want $200 deductible, we have to add 10% to this. Okay? So we're going to say that this is, if I multiply it by 1.10, 590 and 15 cents. This is a 3-mark question. If everything comes into effect, it's 3 marks all in. Okay? So if you have a 3-mark question at hand, you know that it's going to be quite a few steps involved. Okay? I'm going to stop there. I'm going to ask you to try, before you leave, because it's fresh, at least try one. Let me see. Because next is house insurance. 47. Page 47. Try page 47. This says 47 is only tenant insurance. Don't do any homeowners insurances.